Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pulse of New Hampshire. I'm Mike Pomp. One of our good friends is joining us this morning, two-time Emmy and Golden Globe Award winner for her performance, of course, in the groundbreaking television series All in the Family. She starred in CBS's spinoff Gloria, 9 to 5, playing recurring roles on Still Standing, still one of my favorite shows, and, of course, The Gilmore Girls. And she is celebrating and observing the great season of the fall here in northern New England, in the state of Maine and New Hampshire, and enjoying the Halloween season. She's performing in the Mel Brooks comedy musical Young Frankenstein, or as they say, Young Frankenstein, at the Ogunquit Playhouse, the Leary Pavilion, now through the end of the month, now through Halloween, October 31st. We're talking about our good friend, Sally Struthers, who joins us this morning on the Pulse of New Hampshire. Sally, good to have you here. Welcome, my friend.
It's good to know that I still have a pulse, and you do too.
That's true.
And here we are, and it's definitely the middle of fall, soon to be winter, and a perfect time to be in New England.
And what a great show the Ogunquit Playhouse has done. They have really, the Playhouse, as you know, you're a fan favorite, they have really had the opportunity with the pandemic to really think outside the box. They got a nice contribution from the Leary family, and they made this outdoor pavilion, and they created theater this year. Fantastic.
They created theater when so many others all around this great nation of ours have shuttered, probably permanently, from lack of funds. And here's the Ogunquit Playhouse figuring it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ogunquit Playhouse, for thinking outside the box and seeing that we all have some work at the end of the year and some money in our pockets and some joy in our hearts. I mean, these audiences have been spectacular.
It is quite amazing to see this and the transformation. And hopefully next year they'll be doing shows inside the historic theater. Let's hope so, right?
Yes, because, Mike, they say that, the secret to comedy is cool, meaning keep your theater at a cool temperature and people laugh more easily. But it's more than cool in the tent. It's pretty chilly. We tell people come dressed like you're going to an outdoor football game in November.
Yeah.
And they do. They bring their blankets and their chair pads and their hand warmers, and they're absolutely fine. And we're running around the stage freezing because we're in costumes that don't provide a lot of warmth, but the running around helps keep us from getting, sick. We're all so far handling it, but it's an interesting experience. I mean, the only thing missing in the tent are some elephants. I mean, it's like the circus. It is huge. You could park a 747 inside this tent.
I totally agree with you. I was there opening night. I saw the show Young Frankenstein. Just great entertainment, fun for the Halloween season, just fun for the fall season, and a great way to bring the summer-fall season of Ogunquit Playhouse down to a close. Are you having fun performing on stage outside? I mean, what is it like for you as an actor?
It's a new experience. The only other time I ever worked outside was probably, at least 15, if not 20 years ago, in an outdoor theater in Pennsylvania in the summer, and we did nonsense. And when you're dressed as a nun, you have on many layers of costume. And the only thing getting air is your face and your hands. And I really thought I was going to have heat stroke.
Yeah.
Wearing all that warm clothing in that heat. It was an inferno. And so I was absolutely thrilled that Brad wasn't putting the show on until the end of, Brad Kenny, the artistic director, wasn't putting the show on until the end of the season, because I knew that I would get to see the changing of the colors of all the flora in New England, which I love because we don't get that in California. And I knew I'd be comfortable on stage. I wouldn't be hot. I don't function well when I'm warm.
Yeah, most of us don't. Most of us don't. How has it been? I mean, this is a classic. Mel Brooks, this is from the 1974 comedy classic. You're working on, and you'll tell our listeners what the role you're playing, but you're working with John Bolton, who we had on this show 10 years ago, that he's reprising the role of Dr. Frankenstein, or Frankenstein, as he says. He's wonderful in this show. But talk about the role that you play, because this is, your timing is impeccable. I've said this to you many, many times, getting to know you over the years. You know how to work the crowd. You know how to really work it for laughs. Your timing is great. I love it. Talk about the role you're playing.
Well, if anybody remembers that movie from 40 plus years ago, Cloris Leachman played the role of Frau Blucher.
Yeah.
And every time she says her name or anyone else says her name, and even though they're nowhere near around, you can hear horses whinnying. And I asked the first day of rehearsal, I said, I've never understood why that happened. What is, it must be some sort of inside joke from Mel Brooks.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, my gosh.
He asked someone, I guess not a very smart someone, what the German word was for glue. And they told him Blucher. So he named her Frau Blucher so that every time she said her name or someone else did, the horses would whinny because they think they're going to the glue factory. But then he found out after the fact that that's not the word for glue in German.
I see.
I don't know. I mean, I carry an unlit candelabra on stage. I carry it in a couple of scenes. And I was thinking that would just get some wonderful laughs. And it doesn't get a laugh at all. And I realized it's because the audience adjusts in their head, probably thinking subconsciously, well, it's outdoors and the window's blowing and they would blow out anyway and it's dangerous on stage. Fire, so we're all just going to pretend it's lit. But the whole point is Frau Blucher is saying, stay close to the candles. The staircase can be treacherous. And the candles aren't lit, which is very funny to carry a candelabra around that's not lit, but the audience doesn't get that that's the joke. But that's the only thing they haven't gotten in the whole evening. They get everything.
I have to think back now if I got that myself on opening night. I don't remember if I did or not, but thank you for reminding me, to be honest.
Well, you know, I'm in love with John Bolton. John Bolton plays Dr. Frankenstein or Frankenstein. And I don't know how I got to be this old, 74 years old, and have never before this particular job met or worked with John Bolton. He is a gift to the world. He is so very clever and funny and dedicated and hardworking and kind. You know, sometimes when somebody has that much talent, they're a bit of a jerk. But John Bolton is as kind as he is hilarious. I want to do everything with him now. I want to do every show with him.
And he really is, when you think about the role he plays, I mean, he's played this before about 10 years ago at the Ogunquit Playhouse, but he is spot on in his portrayal of this mad doctor. He's wonderful in this. He loves this role. And I didn't know he could sing. I honestly didn't know he could sing. He's great.
He can do everything. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Well, the whole cast is. I've got to say, there's a cast of people in the show that just knock your socks off. Everybody is pulling their own weight and adding to the show.
Yeah.
And kudos to our director, Jeff Whitefield, for putting it all together so beautifully. You know, we only had 11 days of rehearsal. And it's amazing to put together a 100-page script of songs and dances and blocking and moving and choreography and singing in 11 days.
I've always wondered about that, and you've told me this, but tell our listeners, how does that come together so fast? I mean, because you've got to be set for opening night. Now, whether you are or not, the audience never really knows, but how do you get to that point? How do you get to that point in the process? 11 days to put that show on.
There's the socially acceptable answer of we just work so hard. And we all go home every night and work on our lines and keep singing our songs out loud in a room by ourselves until we get comfortable with the lyrics.
Right.
But the less acceptable answer is you don't get paid if you don't memorize stuff. You're getting paid to memorize it, so you have to. And the interesting phenomenon of being 74 years old is I'm the last one now in the room to learn it. Everyone else is already off their script. They put it down. They're walking around the rehearsal hall. They rarely have to ask whoever's following the script for a line. And I'm, every 2 minutes saying line. And I see people just getting, concerned about me. And I keep wanting to tell them, no, I'll be ready by opening night. It's just coming to me more slowly because the file cabinets in my brain are full. And to get them open, they need to be oiled like the Tin Man's mouth.
That's true.
It takes me quite a while now to learn it. So I started 2 months before the show, asking the Ogunquit Playhouse to send me the music and the script so I could start learning it at home so I wouldn't be so far behind everyone else in the show who's younger than I am. I mean, it's interesting, now when you go to see a doctor, they're younger than you are.
Yeah.
You get stopped by a policeman. He or she is younger than you are. And now, always for the last 10 years, no matter where I work, I'm the oldest person around.
Well, here we are at that stage of life, right? But what's the alternative, right? You got to keep living.
Yeah.
And you,
Well,
and
my friend Brenda Vaccaro, she's a wonderful, wonderful actress. And I asked her once to dinner. She and her husband, they were busy every single night I asked for. And I finally gave up and just said to her, Brenda, do you and Guy ever just stay home, make a bowl of popcorn and watch a movie. My God, you're busy every single night. And she said, oh, Doll, you got to keep moving. It creates a breeze.
We're speaking to our good friend, actor Sally Struthers, who joins us. She's in Mel Brooks' musical comedy, Young Frankenstein. One more week of the shows at the Ogunquit Playhouse. You can check them out at ogunquitplayhouse.org. I know we've spoken about this many times when you've joined us in studio, but do people still come up to you and talk to you and say, boy, I remember you from All in the Family, and they want to hear stories about what happened on set? Because I remember you telling me about that show many, many times, saying that, boy, CBS got all sorts of calls and letters, take that show off the air, right?
Well, we thought that's what was going to happen. We were told when we left the rehearsal hall at CBS in Los Angeles, the day of the night the first one was airing, that the CBS affiliates around the country had been manned with extra operators to take all the angry calls, so we might not have a job the next day. And when we got back to rehearsal the next day, we tiptoed in thinking we were going to hear the worst. So they said, yes, the affiliates all over the country got thousands of calls, but 99% of them were, what was that? Is that going to be back on? Oh, my God, we love that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what you just asked me, but yes, the people still come up, and I must admit, I get slightly dismayed. A lot of them come up and say things such as, we used to love you. We loved you on All in the Family. Are you still working, dear? And, I want to say to them, first of all, I had 5 or 6 more television series after All in the Family.
Sure. Yeah.
I have never stopped working. I do theater all over the country. I'm so upset that you think I'm old and I should be retired and sitting in a rocking chair somewhere. I'm still viable. I'm still working. There's so many that only come up and talk to me about All in the Family, and I say, well, did you ever see Gilmore Girls? Did you see this movie that I made? Did you see that? And they go, oh, well, we don't watch much television. And then when I'm in a cranky mood, I say, well, if you don't watch much television, why are you assuming that I'm not on it?
That's a good point.
I'm on a stage anywhere in the country at any given time. I only spend about 8 weeks of each year in my home.
Yeah. You are the type of person, Sally, getting to know you over the years, you don't think of retirement. I mean, you love what you do. You love what you do. You love bringing laughs to people, and we appreciate that. And certainly we needed a lot of laughs over these last 18 or so months or so, and hopefully we can continue to laugh with no problems. It's always great to talk to you. It's been a lot of fun getting to know you over the years, and I have appreciated all the work, all the shows, besides All in the Family. But I have really come to know you over all the shows that you have performed at the Ogunquit Playhouse, because somewhere every season they find a role for Sally Struthers, because people do want to see your comedy. You're funny.
That's thanks to my friend Brad Kenny. He is doing a marvelous job. He has brought this theater into the 21st century, and he's made it a success when theaters all over the country are falling down. And he's got vision, and he is kind enough to always include me. I worship at his feet.
It's good that theater's back. I'm happy. Broadway's back. The shows in Boston are back, and the shows at the Ogunquit Playhouse are back. Final week of Young Frankenstein at the Ogunquit Playhouse. Check it out outside at the Leary Pavilion. If you do go, dress warmly, bring a blanket. You may want to bring your winter jacket, right, Sally? You might want to
bring your winter jacket, bring some gloves, bring a muffler, and be prepared to laugh.
Yeah, it is funny. It's a great role for you. Great role for John Bolton as the doctor, and it's a wonderful cast. Great entertainment. Great to see it back live at the Ogunquit Playhouse. My good friend Sally Struthers joining us this morning here on the Pulse of New Hampshire, all across New Hampshire and Southern Maine. Thank you, Sally. Always great to talk to you, my friend.
Thank you, Mike. Pomp, I love you. I love New Hampshire. I can't wait to come back again next year and see you again.
All right. Sounds good. We will definitely make that a date. I hope to see you next year. I hope so.
Yes, please, God willing, and the creeks don't freeze over.